Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, I want to educate you about patient rights under the Baker Act, which is Chapter 394. So the other day I got a call from a rather distressed family, as we typically do when someone's Baker Acted, and they said, well, I'm sure we have rights. What rights do we have? So I'm going to share with you the rights, and you can find these online. Just Google Chapter 394 patient rights. You'll find exactly what I'm about to read to you. And then I'm going to tell you what rights you really have in the real world, as the Baker Act really works. So here are the rights. Right to dignity and respect, the right to treatment and planning, the right to least restrictive care, the right to communicate in visitors, the right to privacy and confidentiality, the right to report abuse, the right to refuse treatment with caveats, and the right to a physical examination. So those are the rights that are outlined in Chapter 394. These are the rights that have been given to us by our legislatures up in Tallahassee, and at some point this became law, and the governor, whoever that was at the time, signed it into law. You want to know what rights you really have? None. You don't have any rights. None. And I know that sounds pretty blunt, but I mean, if you've watched any of my other videos, I don't sugarcoat this stuff. When somebody is Baker Acted, and I know this from personal experience because I had a family member that was Baker Acted, and I was there when it happened too. So I know what this feels like, and it's not a very pleasant feeling. When somebody is Baker Acted, they become a ward of the state of Florida, and the state of Florida becomes their new legal guardian, which means that your rights as mom and dad or a spouse or a designated healthcare proxy are effectively terminated. That means you can't make any decisions for them at all. And I don't care if the facility or the hospital designates you as, the patient advocate, which is just, to me, another ridiculous, term that's outlined in the Baker Act that actually means absolutely nothing, right? Your rights have been terminated. Your loved one's rights, whether they are an adult or a minor, it doesn't matter. Their ability, their right to make medical and mental health care decisions for themselves, terminated. Over, no longer exist, at least on a temporary basis. The only individuals that can make decisions with regards to your loved one's care are the hospital, and specifically the staff that work there and the doctor. That's it. Now, if you want that to change, we're going to need to take action so that we can go into court and tell a judge that these rights that have been given to your loved one have been violated. So rights are, think of, we hear this all the time. We talk about, you hear on the news, the right to free speech, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, which has to do with firearms, right? Those are rights. They're outlined in the Constitution. But unless you are willing to go in front of a judge and enforce them and tell a judge that those rights, that authority that's been given to you has been violated, then for all intents and purposes, they either don't exist or they're just a bunch of ink on a piece of paper. That's it. So in order for rights to have substance so that you can seek relief and enforce your rights, you got to go to court. And so what we do is we go into court and enforce your rights and your loved one's rights. One of which is to make the state, because it's the state doing this, even though this may be a private for-profit entity that's detained your loved one, they are agents of the state, to make the state prove that they did it legally, okay? And that there is, no other violation. So, there's a lot of technical stuff that goes on with these cases. But that's Baker Act rights. I mean, this is how the Baker Act works in the real world. Okay, you can read this stuff as well as I can. You don't need to be a lawyer to read this stuff. I mean, the Baker Act statute's online, I think it's 160, 70 pages of it. It's all online. You guys can read this as well as I can. But it's how does it work in the real world, right? How do we force the facility to capitulate and do what needs to be done? Well, I guess that's where I come in, right? After speaking to thousands of families and handling, 700 or 800 of these things, I mean, that's what we do. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. I think this is important stuff to know. If you have any questions or comments, please post them. I read all of them, and I try to respond within 24 hours. If you like this content, I'd love a thumbs up. If you could subscribe to the channel, I'd be most grateful. They say it helps my algorithm, whatever that might be. I'm not a techie guy. I'm a Baker Act lawyer. But I appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.